The Garden of Eden. Do you have a garden at your home? Maybe you help your parents to look after it by turning over the soil and pulling out the weeds. Today's story is about a special garden. It was the very first garden that God ever made when He was making the world. He filled the garden with all the things you can find in your garden. One by one, God made the very first flowers, the very first trees, the very first creatures, and the very first birds, until the garden was full of beautiful things that all lived happily together. When He had done this, God gave the garden a special name. He called it the Garden of Eden. Right in the middle of His garden, God planted a very important tree, so that the people who were going to live there would eat the fruit from this tree and always remember that God had made everything for them to enjoy. He also planted another tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and the people were forbidden to eat the fruit of this tree. Then God put a river all round the edge of the big garden to water all the plants and trees so that they would grow properly. The garden was so beautiful that God wanted to give it to some people so they could live happily in it. So He made the first man and the first woman and put them in the garden. He told them to look after it, and it would provide them with everything they needed. The Bible tells us that the first man was called Adam and the first woman Eve. They were not just two individuals, but were the name for all the first people on earth. Adam means man and Eve means life. Each one of us has a garden in our minds that we must take care of. Just as your garden at home often has weeds growing in it, as well as flowers and pretty shrubs, so bad thoughts that spring up and lead to unkind words and deeds are like those weeds and need to be pulled out from our minds. Good thoughts and actions are the good seeds that grow and bear the fruit of kind words and deeds. So I hope you will always take very good care of the garden in your mind.